Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I'm excited to have you guys out here this Monday, rainy Monday. Did anybody know it was going to rain here in New York? I certainly had no clue. Anyway, guys, come on in. Please let me know where you guys are watching from. It's great to be out here. It's great to be alive. It's great to be on Jamaicans.com, on My Temple Wellness. With you guys yet another Monday. Guys, I have a show for you today. I have a very, very special guest that's going to be on our show this afternoon, this evening. He's a very dear friend of mine, an author. I'm going to read his bio very shortly so you guys can get to know him a little bit better. And he's going to be here live and direct so you guys can see him for yourself and meet him for yourself. But before we get into that, I want to take care of a few things. You guys don't know how it go already. I have to do my housekeeping things. As y'all are coming in, guys, you know what to do. Please put where you're watching from. Also, let me know, share on your page. So put this on your page, share this video. Let me know where you guys are watching from, because I like to big you guys up. I like to call your name and call your city and all of that stuff. You guys don't know I'm in the Bronx, right? That's where I'm sitting right now. That's where I live. That's where I do most of my work, guys. So share the video. Let me know where you guys are watching from. And we're going to jump right in today, guys, because I don't want to waste any time. I want you guys to get the most of this show today. And so I'm going to just go ahead and first share with you guys a little bit about myself. So if this is your first time on and you're just seeing me for the first time, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Deborah Johnson, and I am a nutritionist, plant-based nutritionist, I would say, and community nutritionist. I have a master's degree in nutrition, and I'm also certified in nutritional psychology. I'm a trauma support specialist, and I'm also a mental health first aid instructor. I love what I do. As I said before, predominantly working in the Bronx, New York. I do a lot of virtual stuff, as you guys might imagine now because of the pandemic. And yeah, guys, I want you all to follow me on social media so you can see some of the things that I'm doing. And I'm just going to share really quickly my page with you guys so you can be able to see when you go on IG, Instagram, you can see quickly what it looks like. So let me do that real quick with you guys here. I'm just going to share my page, share my screen. Here it is. How are you guys doing today? How was your weekend, guys? What did you guys do? What did y'all eat? So this is my Instagram page, guys. So when you come on, I shared this amazing, you guys already know what this is, right? Breadfruit with ackee and some shisudu peppers over there. And also, guys, I did this. I think I showed you guys already. Maybe last week I talked about the pudding that I did. But these are some of the things that I do on my page. If you follow me, you get to see some of these recipes. I share recipes as well, which I think is cool. So yeah, if you want to see a little bit more about what I'm doing, it's My Temple Wellness, all right? And that's the same on all the platforms. So on YouTube, all the different platforms, that's what my handle is My Temple Wellness, all right? So before I get into your comments, guys, let me see what other housekeeping thing I want to do here today. Yeah, so my brand, as I said before, is called My Temple Wellness, and I provide nutrition and wellness services to individuals and organizations, predominantly organizations right now. I do have some stuff coming up that will be in the fall for individuals, so you guys stay tuned about what that's going to be like. My message, guys, is all about, talking about the body being a temple, okay? It's the temple of the Holy Spirit, basically, all right? And so that is my message, and so I want you guys to always remember that, all right? Always remember that. Also, guys, I do have a website, so if there's information that you want to learn, you want to know more about me, I'm not sharing enough on here, go to my website. You might be able to learn a thing or two about me, all right, guys? So that's about it. Again, share the video, all right? Like the video, all of that good stuff. Y'all already don't know what to do. All right. So I'm going to read some of your comments. My guest is here. Dr. Ball is here and waiting. So I'm so excited, guys. You have no clue. Let me see some of your comments. And then we are going to, I'm going to read his bio, and then we're going to get right into this talk today about self-love. So Mr. Tony Kelly, hi Deborah. Hey, Mr. Tony Kelly from Birmingham, guys. We have a lot of fans in England, and I think it's just really great. Mr. Tony Kelly, a fellow Jamaican, he's going to be on. I spoke with him over the weekend. He's going to be on with us in November, and we're going to be talking about diabetes. All right, because he's a diabetes specialist. He goes and does a lot of talks, and he has a talk coming up on Thursday. Mr. Kelly, if you want to type that out. That would be great so people can know and watch as well. All right. Perlette is watching from Canada. Yeah, another group of people we have watching from Canada as well. Barbados. And that's Denroy. Denroy's on YouTube. Guys, you know we stream on YouTube and on Facebook, right? So big up yourself, Denroy. Welcome. Wow, Nati from Kenya. Oh, Nati, you've been on here before. I didn't know you were watching from Kenya. Wow, big up Kenya. Thank you for tuning in. And we've got Carrick Johnson, Manhattan in the building. You do not live in Manhattan. Well, he's at work, guys. You guys know who Carrick is by now, right? That's my husband. He's at work, so he's saying Manhattan, but y'all know he live in the Bronx. Anyway, big up Manhattan. Big up yourself, Carrick. Don't work too hard, honey, all right? Denroy watching from Barbados. Wonderful. Actually, I think I just saw that one earlier. So second time. Carrie Ann, greetings. Good to have you on, Carrie Ann. And of course, Australia. Good to have you again. I'm going to call you Jane again because I'm not going to attempt that first name. But welcome, guys. Welcome. I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm going to jump right in, as I said before. I don't want to waste no time. Dr. Ball is here. I'm going to bring him on my screen. And as I bring him on, I'm going to be reading his bio. And then we are going to jump into our show for this evening. All right, guys. So I want you guys to send your love out to him. All right. As I add him to my stream, send your love to Dr. Paul. Hey.
Hello to you.
How are you, sir? There's a little echo going on. I don't know if that's on my end.
Is it on my end?
Let me take this banner off.
I'm going to put on my headphone to see if that can make a difference on my end.
Here. I can hear you. But there's still an echo.
Oh, you're still hearing
me? You guys hear an echo out there?
Let's see. How is that?
Better. Much better.
That's better?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, I can hear myself again. I'm still working on getting this thing off the screen anyway, so you could do your thing there, Banner. Okay, there we are. Are we good?
I am good. I'm hearing you clearly.
Yeah?
Yes.
So I don't know where the echo is. That's on my end. Let me check to make sure I don't have anything open. Bear with us, guys. We're getting it together here. This is technology at its finest.
Ain't that the truth?
Do you hear echoes?
I am not hearing echoes, and I'm making sure that I close out all of my windows as well.
Okay. So let me do that. I want to leave that up. Echo, testing.
Yeah, I'm hearing you fine. I don't know.
Okay, so it's fine. I'll go ahead because you're going to be doing most of the talking today. Yes, you are. All right, guys. Without further ado, let me go ahead and read Dr. Ball's bio. I have it right here on my screen. Yeah, guys, thank you for coming in. And again, keep sharing this on your page. All right. We want everybody to participate and benefit from this wonderful talk that we're going to be having today. All right. So Dr. Roger Ball has been in ministry since the age of 17 when he preached his first sermon. He has been a Sunday school teacher, youth pastor, assistant pastor, and is currently the founder and senior pastor of Family Worship Center in the Bronx, where he has been pastoring for the last 20 years. Bishop Ball has also served as a motivational speaker at workshops, retreats, and camps, and has been a counselor for the same period. He and his wife, Lady Seneca Ball, are the co-directors of family ministries for the Northeast region and Bermuda division of the Churches of God of Prophecy. Dr. Ball is a New York State licensed master social worker. Secularly, he serves as an assistant principal within the New York City Board of Education. Prior to that, he served as a program director within the African American Male Initiative of the Children's Aid Society and was also a program director with the Archdiocese of New York. Bishop Ball has been an adjunct professor at Concordia, Mercy, and Monroe colleges and has been teaching at Fordham University's Westchester campus for the last 12 years. He also teaches at Lehman College and New York Theological Seminary. Dr. Ball earned a doctorate from Fordham University's Graduate School of Religion and Religious Education with a concentration in marriage and family life. He holds 2 master's degrees in religious education and the other in social work, also from Fordham University. He's currently completing studies for a 3rd master's degree, which will be in educational leadership and supervision through Baruch College. Dr. Ball published his first book, The Ties That Bind and Bruise, in January of 2019. His second book, Deconstructing Love, was recently released. It focuses on singles and managing successful relationships. His primary vocation is to be a husband to his wife, Seneca, and father to their 4 beautiful children, Jonathan, who's 20, Vanessa, who's 19, Michael, who's 16, and Addison, beautiful 6 years old. So that's Dr. Ball. As you guys can see, a man with many hats. One thing that's not on here, and it probably wouldn't be on here, but he married me. He married me and my husband 10 years ago. You guys know I just celebrated my 10-year wedding anniversary. This is the man who gave us our marriage counseling and married us and has been in my life for quite a few years now, Dr. Ball. I don't even remember how long it's been.
Long time.
Long time, right?
Yes, long time.
And he's also Jamaican, guys. All
That's
right.
right. Yadi.
Yeah, man. It's her accent, right? So, Dr. Ball, thanks again for being here. It's such an honor to have you, sir.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, of course. So the book, guys, I told you guys to go out and grab it. This is the book we're going to be focusing on this evening, Reconstructing Love. We're focusing on chapter 6, which is about self-love. The other book, I don't think I mentioned this before on here, but The Ties That Bind and Bruise is the first book. So if you'd like to get it, please go check it out. Pretty amazing as well. I mean, both books are really, really good. So Dr. Ball, why don't we start by you sharing with us why you wrote this book? What inspired you?
Sure. Once again, good evening to you and to your listeners, and thank you so much for the privilege of joining you this evening. So my doctoral dissertation work at Fordham University, I have always been interested in family life, in marriage life, in what it means to love and be loved in return. I've always been interested in what does it mean to create a safe and and structured environment where children can grow up feeling safe and be productive human beings in the world. What does it mean to fall in love, to fall out of love, to stay in love, and to cultivate and mature love. And so it's a topic that I've always been interested in part because I have known love. I've known love as a child, I've known love as an adult, sustainable love at that. And so my first book, The Ties That Bind and Bruise, was sort of an outgrowth of my doctoral dissertation. And then as I traveled, across the continental United States and overseas, speaking about love, invariably these conversation comes up about what about the single folks? What about the single folks? What about young adults? What about mature adults who are still in the market for love? And in listening, in speaking, first of all, I discovered at some point that the conversations that I was attempting to have with single folks were just woefully inadequate. Right? I just discovered that we were saying things to them and they're like pleasantly shaking their head and say, thank you for sharing. Thank you for. But I have always known that it has not really gotten to the heart of the matter, right? Which is giving young people and not so young people really sound research based, theoretically sound, theologically sound as well, principles on which to guide their love lives, their loveless lives, sometimes in terms of intimate relationship, and how do they move through this world, fully human, fully fully sense of their autonomy, and even if whether or not they are with someone. And so I said, let me sit with it. Let me sit with the discomfort a while. And also let me write something that was research based, that was a far more, well, in terms of the references, far more research based than my first book. So every page you turn, you'll see plenty of, some of the latest research on love and falling in love and falling out of love.
Yeah. No, it's funny because that's the same. I was as I was reading the book, I kept saying to myself, "Wow, so many great references
Yeah.
too. You shared so many great references." And so, yeah, guys, definitely get the book. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, so single people, they were being left out.
All the single ladies and all the single
All the
fellas.
single ladies. All the single.
I'll leave that one to you.
Yes, so Dr. Ball, so you were inspired by what you were not seeing, and so you basically created this for your community and beyond.
Yes. Yes.
How has it been going? The sales of the book, are you
The,
are you
the
happy so far with it?
I've I've been, well, by the way, a writer is never fully happy with their body of work, right? So, every time I look at it, I'm just like, give me the pen, let me mark it up again. Right? Even
No.
yes, even my first book, I read it, I'm like, oh, this word, I could replace this, I could do that. But in terms of the pandemic has really, slow things down for,
Yeah.
everyone. And so, in fact, my wife just shipped off a whole bundle of books of people who have bought through my website,
Yes.
drrajabal.com.
Okay.
Plug. And
Please plug, sir. Plug you in there too, right?
yeah,
It's also on Amazon, guys.
yes, it's,
We have to support each other, so that's totally good to
thank,
say.
thank you, thank you. But the book, and both of those books, and particularly this one, this is one we're really talking about. I wanted to write something that was sustainable as well, right? I didn't just want to sit down and have sort of this, stream of thought running across the pages. I wanted to be thoughtful and productive, and something that will contribute to the body of literature to our community. And so, this book will be around for a long time, and beyond the pandemic, as even a lot of people are buying the book right now. But I'm not really awfully worried about the sales piece, because it's,
Right, right.
if you write quality a body of work, it will like my first book, that was wildly successful, more so than I could have even imagined. And so the book will do great. Yeah.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. So yeah, because it recently came out, so you want to
Yes,
kind of keep
yes,
pushing.
yes. A
Yeah.
few weeks back, and then in the summer, we'll have the official launch.
Okay.
We'll get people together, and we'll do we haven't done all the marketing pieces as yet. But I I was tired of sitting with it, and I said, let me let
I'm
me.
so glad you chose to come out and hang out with us to talk about it here almost
Yes.
first.
You are first, actually.
What?
You're the first person I've sat down with to do an interview. Yeah, so pioneer, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, Jamaicans.com. You guys are blessed to have Dr. Ball, honestly. All right, so I don't want to take too much more time getting into all that. I really want you to start sharing about this chapter. And it's chapter 6, guys. For those of you who did buy the book, it's called From Narcissism and Self-Loathing to Self-Love. And so the way Dr. Ball broke the book down, which I thought was really great, you sort of have like these subtopics.
Hmm.
And so I would love for you to start just kind of going through this chapter, however you like, and just start sharing with us. I'm going to probably remove myself off to the side a bit and give you a
Okay.
chance to start sharing, about this chapter and whatever it is that you'd like to share with us this afternoon. And guys, take notes.
Sure, sure, sure. And you could, any question you want to pose, you could feel free to do that. So,
Most definitely.
in fact, this was the very last chapter that I wrote in this book. And one may have thought that the ending chapter, the last chapter is on when love dies, and how do you really recover from a broken heart? How do you tell someone that this is no longer working, and that this relationship is, has, the ship has sailed, and that it has reached the boundaries of its possibilities, and so how do you get into that? And so even that chapter, I wrote it before I wrote this chapter. And I think in a way, we've been taught to not talk about self-love and the importance of loving ourselves. And so what I did in writing this chapter was that I pulled the two extremes of what we oftentimes see, right? I pulled on the one extreme, you have narcissism or narcissistic personalities and narcissistic tendencies, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And then on the other extreme, you usually have sort of this self-loathing approach to living, right? After you've been beaten down so much by the world, beaten down by society, says you're not light-skinned enough, your nose is not straight enough, and your hair is not soft and long enough or curly enough, or your eyes are not pale or blue enough, you're not tall enough and you're not skinny enough. We go through life and we go through these experiences and we harbor and own much of these things that people, dump on us. And so we come to believe that. And so on that hand, you have self-loathing. And I'm making the case in this book that in order for you to truly love others, in order for you to truly experience deep, meaningful, lasting love, that you yourself must love you, right? And that's not conceited. It is not it is not unbecoming. You must love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, if you don't appreciate you, if you can't sit in your own skin and be okay with it, then really, truly, how can you bring that skin? How can you bring that heart? How can you bring that self into a loving space when you do not love you to begin with? And so I make the case again and again in the chapter about really unpacking narcissism and unpacking self-loathing behaviors. And then I come at the end and really discuss, what does it mean? What does it look like? What does it feel like to love yourself? And I unpack that with some degree of detail. I think that there's opportunity that I could have done more, but that's what I did. So first on narcissism. In fact, I talk about, and this was when I came across this article, I thought it was just an amazing, serendipitous, stumbling on, and that is, the conversational narcissist. Have you ever been in a room? Have you ever, been in a conversation and the other person just go on and on and on and on, and you may try to say something and they cut you off, and everything centers around them. The narcissist is always with his or her own thoughts, and those thoughts and feelings and ideas and opinions and facts are always the most important in the room. Nothing else sits close to it. Everything else and every ideas and person and personhood is subordinated then to the narcissistic individuals. One of the things that I've grappled with as a clinician is that at any given time I'm counseling many, many, many couples, younger couples, older couples, couples who are dating, couples who just got married, couples who have, filed for divorce but still want to continue seeing if they could salvage it. Here's one of the things that I have discovered. It is almost impossible for you to truly get what you want out of a narcissist. The minute you begin to say, what about me? The narcissist begins to feel broken, and they usually respond in two ways. Either they begin to be, they're like, I talk about this in the book, they're like shattered glass. So the minute you begin to say, this is not okay, I have a problem with your behavior, I have a problem with the way you're treating me, I need more out of this relationship, I feel like it's a one-way street, they begin to call all the things that everyone has done to them all their lives, and they knew that you were just going to be one of those people, and they fall to the floor, and they're shattered into countless pieces. The other way that they tend to respond is with sort of a blind anger and a blinding anger that doesn't matter what you say to them, they just can't hear it. And so the defense that they take on is to become very, very angry and lash out so hard that whatever it was that you presented to them, it gets lost in the sauce because all that's left simmering on top is the anger that really seeks to, that you feel as though you cannot contend with. And so narcissist and narcissism is dangerous because everything is about them. It's all about what they should receive. It's all about what they deserve. It's all about what they did not get. It's very, very much about them. And so when you think about the nature of love, when you think about the nature of love is that it seeks to please someone. So just what, imagine this. Imagine the narcissist falls in love with the self-loathing person. The self-loathing person, again and again, needs the approval of others. Needs the only way they feel belong, the only way they feel, as though they matter, is that when they have the attention of others. Now, the narcissist falls in love with the self-loather, and so the self-loathing person is constantly seeking the narcissist for approval. What do you think about my outfit? What did you think about my speech? What did you think about, my job performance? What did you think about my new job? Those who do not feel confident in their own skin and where they are will reach out for somebody else to give them some form of, meaning and approval and validation. The narcissist is not going to do it because the narcissist feels as though anytime he or she does that, it's taking away. They're so fragile inside that they cannot yield the floor and recognize someone else. And then the self-loather cannot really see that you do not need to seek approval, nor will you get approval from somebody who is just not capable of giving it to you. And so you're stuck on, why can't they? And part of the question really becomes, why do you need that from them, from someone who is not capable of giving it to you? And so I straddle between these two ends, between what does it mean to be a narcissist and what causes self-loathing behaviors, right? Someone tells you that, you think about the chats and the things that you hear in your head over and over and over again. You're not good enough. You're not worthy, right? You're not smart enough. You're stupid, right? Made to be treated last. And a lot of that, believe it or not, is not rooted in the inception of intimate relationships. It's not rooted in where in your first love that you fell in love head over heels in. It's actually rooted in our childhood experiences. More often than not, when I'm in counseling, I go back to our childhood because our childhood experiences oftentimes either liberate or imprison us for a very, very long time. And so those are some of the pieces I talk about. I don't know if Deborah, if you want to jump back in and and ask any question there, because that was a lot of talking on my
Yeah,
part.
no, that was really good. That was excellent. Well, the one thing I would want to ask about is I always hear Oprah say this thing about filling your cup first. So
Yes.
you're basically saying with a narcissist, you don't get that opportunity. You're always, whether it be on E or half, so you're just constantly pouring out trying to make sure that they're okay.
Yes. Yes. And because the narcissist is so, and it's not. And here's the worst part: people believe that it is intentional. I don't know if you're hearing me. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
People believe that it is intentional, but it's other issues that are going on with the narcissist, and so you try to fix them and you try to make them behave and to believe, but it's something deeper that's oftentimes going on with the narcissist. So you mentioned Oprah talking about filling your cup first. Another way to put it is like this: if you've been on an airplane, they talk about if you are traveling with others, right? And just in case, right, the air cabin pressure falls, and here's what it says: even if you are traveling with minors, your
Mm.
own children, right? Those that you love the most,
That's a
those
hard
that
one.
I know, those that you're prepared to die for. You know what they said? Put the mask on yourself first. We're from Jamaica, and this is what our parents did,
Yeah.
especially our mothers. Like they share out their food last,
True.
and they take the bun at the bottom to feed everybody else, right? And the little savings that they have, they spent it on us, and everybody else got except them. And in a
Mhm.
real sense, we call it sacrificial, and it's great and it's wonderful, but we've literally grown up seeing so many people denying themselves
Mm.
basic good just so that they could please others. And when children see those things, they believe it. And they believe that it's the highest way to live.
Yeah.
As a consequence of that, we turn around and we starve ourselves. We subordinate our needs. We put ourselves on the back burner,
Mhm.
and then everyone else, they're satisfied and they're fed and they're nurtured and they're taken care of and they get their vacation and they get their everything, and then you feel like a martyr. It is unnecessary. I make the case that it is unnecessary to be a martyr in this case. Take care of
Mhm.
yourself, nurture yourself, and love yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's an interesting point too you make about just our childhood and the fact that we're somewhat traumatized from our childhood.
Yeah.
We see this and then we copy that same behavior
Yeah.
as adults. And
Yeah.
then obviously we're continuously passing that on
Yeah.
to the next generation and the next and the next. How do we
Yeah.
really stop that? I mean, like, your book is sort of giving us a lot of clues on how to really deal with that and give us the help on how to do that. And you're saying self-love, which is what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Is that the one cure, or what would you say?
Well, it starts with loving oneself, right? It starts with recognizing those patterns. For example, in my first book, The Ties That Bind and Bruise, I tell the story, and some people may be familiar with it. The story about a little girl who standing in the kitchen watching her mother cook fish, and the mother chop off a big chunk of the tail and threw it in the garbage, and then put it on the stove to cook it. And she said to her, "Mom, why did you throw away all of that that fish?" And mom said, "Well, that's a good question, but guess what? Ask your grandma, because that's how I learned from her." She went to her grandma and says, "Grandma, mom was cooking, fish, and she chopped off a big chunk of the tail and threw it in the garbage, and I just didn't understand why she did that." Well, grandma said, "Well, that's a good question, but you will need to ask Nana, who is your great grandmother." And great grandmother was there, hair is silver and as white as they come. And grandma is sitting down there. Great grandma is sitting, Nana is sitting down there. And she went to Nana and asked Nana the same question: "Why do we do that?" Nana said, "They are still doing that. We did that because the pot was just so small that we would chop off a piece of the tail to make it fit in the pot. They have bigger pots, better pots, maybe not better, but they have bigger pots,
Right.
but they're still doing something." And sometimes we hold on to traditions and we live it, we live it out in our lives without even
Mhm.
realizing what we're doing. And
Yeah.
so I talk about some things. If you want me to maybe just name some of them, in
Yes, I
terms
would
of.
love for you to do that. I'm going to invite folks also. Guys, ask questions. Dr. Ball is here. So if you have questions, whether it be on this particular topic, self-love, narcissism, whatever it is, he's a clinician, so he should be able to get you guys some answers today. So put your questions in. Don't be shy. We'll get to them shortly. All right. I'm going to turn back over to you, Dr. Ball. Go ahead.
Sure, sure. So there are a number of things that we can do, and I won't, pull everything apart, but I do talk about them in the book. And one of those, I start at the end, one of those basic ways is to take care of yourself, right? Take care of yourself. And it sounds like you know this already, don't you? You know this. You know when your body is telling you that you're going too far, that you're not getting enough rest. But take care of yourself. Engage in self care, right? Take breaks, exercise, do things for yourself, go on vacation, take mental health days, right? Spend time and quality time with people that you love. Remove yourself from toxic relationships that are not life giving. deal with your bills and deal with your parking tickets. Take care of yourself so that you are not in relentless, avoid certain debts, right? Do not put yourself in debt that you can't get out of. And then there's some low hanging fruits ones like, before I talk about those, I in the chapter I talk about three people: Rahab, Jacob, and Jabez. And the reason why I talk about these three biblical figures, and could be just as well as you and I, is because there's this theme that I advance in here that is called biographical rehabilitation. Biographical rehabilitation essentially says this: you don't have to stick with the old narrative. You don't have to become who they believe that you are going to be. You don't have to live out the script that someone else put on your life. You can shed that, unburden yourself with all the negativity that you've been told about yourself, and really sit back and do a life review and then engage in a biographical rehabilitation. Like, I am going to change my story. Amanda Adichie and Ngozi Adichie talk about the single story that people will put you in a box. People will lock you in a corner and they will say that's the only thing you can be. We see it in so many ways in segments of society. For women, for black and brown people, you could only be this and that's it. No more, no less. Biographical rehabilitation says that you, my brothers and sisters, must take charge of your own life. If you have a job that you don't like, leave it. Get another one first, though. If in a relationship that is just toxic and it's no longer working, why suffer in perpetuity? Why suffer relentlessly? Make some decision. If you can't fix it, then make a decision as to whether or not it's worth salvaging. You deserve to be happy. So here are some ways that you could practice self-love from right where you are. Accept compliments. Someone say to you, that's a nice suit you got on there. They say, oh, I got it on sale. That's not necessary. They don't need to know how much you paid for it. Someone says, that's a great job that you did there. You say thank you very much, right? Don't just say, it was nothing. Accept compliments, because when you accept a compliment, well, let me flip it. When you reject a compliment, what you're really saying to that person is that you are not deserving of it, and therefore they should not compliment you. When you accept compliment, you are saying to the other person, thank you for recognizing my work. Thank you for recognizing the things that I have done, and I appreciate you for seeing and recognizing it. Let me put it differently. A compliment is essentially bearing witness to your work, your attitude, your attributes, your characteristic. Once again, it is bearing witness. And so in the absence of a compliment, think about it. It means for your work, your skills, your virtues to go unnoticed. And if it goes unnoticed, unrecognized, uncelebrated, in a way, someone is saying it doesn't exist. So how will you know, and how will they know if there's no dialogue? So it's important to accept compliments. Number 2, strive for excellence, not perfection. When you strive for excellence, it means that you are seeking to improve yourself. Excellence not only in your work and in the products that you produce and that you churn out, but excellence in you, to strive to bring out the best in you and the better person in you and a better version of you every single day. Whether it's through reading, whether it's through more self-reflection, whether it's through goal setting, whether it's going back to school, right? Whether it's, improving your relationship, whatever it is, whether it's joining a gym or going to work out or changing your diet or reconciling with loved ones or, whatever, or terminating unnecessary relationship and not life-giving, you must strive for excellence, not perfection. Perfection is an illusion. It is an illusion that if you get tied down in it, you torture yourself. So you want to be good. You want to be great. You want to always work on improving, but you don't want to work on perfection, because there's no such thing. In the book, the narcissists usually believe that they're so perfect. And so the story I told about Narcissus, the Greek mythology, Narcissus and Echo, who fell in love. So And narcissists look at his face, his image in the water, the reflecting pool. He was so obsessed with himself. He was thirsty and he didn't drink water. He couldn't stop looking at himself. And so, as a result of that, he died of thirst right by the pool, because every time he goes down to look at himself, the water would move and he would miss his image, and he would have to let the water settle back. And then Echo, who fell in love with him, and in the end, she fell in love with him, and he could not see her because all he could see was himself. Number three, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Self love means that you're not perfect, and that when you make a mistake, you have to own it, and you have to say, I made a mess of that one. But you know what? It's time to move on. It's time for me to do something differently, to turn the corner, to forgive myself, to forgive those who have hurt me. Because if you're going to truly love yourself, you have to learn to let go of some things. You have to learn to let go, because when a person hurt you or seek to damage you, what happens is you sit with that hurt long enough. After a while, it's not no longer just that they hurt you, but you're hurting yourself by ruminating and mulling it over and losing sleep over it, and begging them to talk to you and begging them to come to conversation, and all these kind of mental and emotional and psychic acrobatics that gets you nowhere good. And so you have to learn to forgive yourself and forgive others and move on. Move on. And then number four, and then I'll invite Sister Deborah back in, to maybe we could talk the rest of the way. And then number four is maintain personal boundaries. I cannot tell you how important this one is. A love of self is a intuitive recognition as to your own value, right? And that you are valuable. People who do not know your values tend to step on boundaries. People who think you are not as valuable or as worthy, they tend to give you a 6 for a 9. They tend to push you to see how far they can get you. They push you, whether it's in, the way they speak to you, the way they treat you, the things they ask of you. And when you love yourself and you know what you're about and what you deserve, what you rightfully deserve, what you tend to do is you tend to maintain those boundaries. Don't blame people for trying to cross boundaries. That's how they were raised, and that's their own sense of the world and the worldview that they move through time and space. But when you have your own sense of boundaries, then you understand, and people will understand, that there's some things that are impermissible. There's some things, there's some conversation, there's some treatment that you're just not going to tolerate. Someone says, I gave no one permission to walk on me, and therefore they will never do it. And so maintain personal boundaries in all areas of your life, with your loved ones, with children, with adults, with significant others, with someone who is interested in dating you. Let them know up front, where your boundaries are. Let them know up front what you stand for, what you believe in about love and about relationships. So those are a few ways that you can really engage in self-love and self-loving behaviors.
I love it. Dr. Bowles, that was so good. I heard so many great nuggets and so many great things. I was over here jotting down a couple of things. And so I have some questions, a couple of
Sure.
questions. And I know folks out there have questions, so don't be shy, guys. Ask your questions. The first one would be, how do you go about setting healthy boundaries? Because that's important. You just pointed out that it's important for us to have boundaries. How do you really do that? Especially with someone that you're close to, whether it be a family or a friend or coworker.
Yeah, here's why it's difficult to build boundaries. Because, and I'll answer the question. And part of the reason is because, my sister, when someone infringes on our boundaries, our space, it feels so awkward that you almost want the moment to pass and not say anything about it. And so that's what we tend to do oftentimes. And then as a result of that, and here's the danger in that, a person who crosses boundaries most likely do not know that there's a boundary. And the only way for them to know is for you to address it. And people who cross boundaries do you cannot be nuanced and subliminal and so and and or slick or or shady. You have to be very, very upfront. I'll give you a quick story. So I was in Istanbul, in Turkey, my wife and I tell this story often. And I'm standing in front of a little shop, the guy selling sweets and stuff inside of a store. And my wife was in there looking at all of these, native and cultural candies and sweets. The guy and I was talking, and in the East, people tend to be talked closer to in each other's space, right? You know, us Westerners, you're like, you're invading my space, right? I get two step back up, right? And so the guy is talking to me. I'm in another country, halfway around the world. The social norms are very different. So he's talking to me, and he's too close in my face. So what do? I back up. That's right. And and that's the problem, isn't it? Because when you back up, what did that man do? He advanced. And the more I backed up, the more he advanced. What I did not do, I did not tell him he was invading my space. Understandably so. That it wouldn't have been necessary in that moment to do that. You want to hear something funny? We were like a half block down the hill away from his store, and he was clueless that I had taken him all the way down the block because he was just, you see, there's a discomfort for him in trying to, in the space in between, and there's a discomfort for me in the closeness. And so we're always doing this. And so in that moment, imagine if I had just said, I'm sorry, just step back a little bit. It's a bit too close for me. That would have solved everything, but it would have caused some discomfort. My cultural, barring cultural competency, right?
Right.
But in the case of boundaries, the best move, and people laugh when I say this, the best move, don't wait for the second time. The best move is to catch it the very first time around. Because especially in intimate relationships, sometimes we lead people on to believe that we're signing up for things that we are not signing up for. We're uncomfortable with it, but we sign on. It violates our boundaries and our own principles, but we sign on to it out of hopes that it will go away. But that's not true. People usually just get comfortable with whatever has been created. And so my advice is name it the first time, right? Say, And so here's maybe an example. All right. So I'm a college professor, right? Been teaching since I was in my 20s. So a student may text me at 10 o'clock at night, right? And, okay, I do not respond to the text. I wait for the text message the next morning, and I may say, thank you for your text message. However, 10 o'clock is too late for me to receive a text from you or to respond to you. Please, as discussed in class, send your text messages or, during blah, 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 blah from, 7 to 6 o'clock. Now, there's an inherent discomfort in engaging in that dialogue.
Right.
But what's the alternative? The alternative is people believe that if you don't address it, they believe that it's okay. And that's what happens. People fall in love. They grin and bear. It's hurting me so bad. I'm just love you so much, right? It's hurting so bad, but you go along with it. And then all of a sudden, a year in, you're like, I'm done. I'm done faking it. I'm done with this. I'm just gonna tell you, I don't like green peas. I don't like my rice soggy. I don't like kale. Sorry. All right, fine. I love kale. I love kale. I love kale. Right. And so, and then all of a sudden, you discover that you are in a twilight zone because people have signed on for things that they did not like, they didn't appreciate, but to get along, they go along to get along, and then they find out that it's not working for their good. Be clear up front. with
Yeah.
boundaries and what your needs are, especially in an intimate relationship. Don't give because you're all excited and and butterflies in your stomach and you can't sleep. No, you name. I was gonna say you name your price, but there's not a price, right? You name what you need and what you expect up front, so that there are no surprises. Nobody could say that you changed on me.
Yeah.
That was a
Because that
mouthful.
happens all the time. People get thrown off and think that you're changing. Like you just said, they think you're a whole different person when all
Yeah.
along you've just been stuffing
That's
your
right.
feelings and not really sharing what you're really experiencing. So I like those tips.
That's right.
I had to learn the hard way.
Well, we all do at some
Got
point.
it.
Yeah. And as for Oprah again, who says, "Who knows better? You do better." And when you know better, then you do differently. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, she also says this thing like when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I
The
tend to, I always feel that, and I always say, but I want to give people chances.
Yeah.
You want to, give them a chance to correct, but sometimes people never course correct, and you're stuck with that,
Yeah,
ill
and
treatment.
to know that, and I mean, it's okay to trust again, right? There's no
Right.
and I talk about that in my book. How do you trust again? How do you give second chances and all of that? And that's true, but you have to know when a person is not willing to change. And
Mhm.
another thing is, part of your boundaries is, here goes one of the other things that I say, that when every time I talk about this stuff, I want to continue, I want to expand. Here's one of the way to maintain boundaries. Anytime we're in love with anybody and we try to change them, that's a boundary issue. And anytime you are trying to change someone, it means you're deeply unhappy.
Mm,
Because if you are happy, you do not try to change people.
that's true.
And the minute you and not only that, but your failure in changing them successfully, which we can't. The
Right.
failure in not being able to change them, that will just create more anxiety and more unhappiness. So part of your maintaining boundaries is know the parameters of your own this boundaries, right? How far can you go? What can you ask for, right?
Mm,
You can't ask a person, right? You can't ask a person to change who they are. Yeah? You could say, "Babe, I don't like this." But
mhm,
don't ask them to change their personality.
mhm.
Don't ask them to move from a type B personality to type A. If they're not motivated to succeed the way you want to be, no.
Yeah.
You need to, and as the subtitle is, with your eyes
Wide open.
wide open. You can't motivate a person to conquer the world if they're just swimming along. That's who they are. Believe them when they tell you that. Yeah.
Love it, love it. I want to jump back. We're coming close to our end here,
Sure, sure.
but you mentioned biographical
Rehabilitation.
rehabilitation. I love that.
Mm.
And you talked about changing your story. And what I was thinking about was negative thoughts.
Mm.
Could you talk a little bit about how our negative thoughts could like sabotage us and how important it is to really deliberately think positively?
Yeah. Yeah, the power of positive thoughts, and scores of books have been written, and scriptures of speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, and making melodies in your heart. Can I tell you a secret? I have been singing every day of my life since I was about 4 years old. There's not a day in my life that goes by that I don't sing a song off key, but I sing it from me. I sing it from me,
You
not
do
for
all right.
anyone. I'm
Don't you.
terrible,
You do all
right?
right.
But I'm okay with that, right? And so, right, negative thoughts, they become truly self-fulfilling prophecies. People who don't believe in themselves do not try to achieve things that they do not believe in. That's
Hmm.
that's that's just the way we work. If we believe we're not qualified for the job, we don't apply for it. If we believe that we're not deserving of love, we don't go after it. If we believe that we're not deserving of better treatment, then people treat us shabby, right? Like we pull into ourselves what we believe about ourselves and what we think about ourselves. And so the negative thoughts, you have to recognize, almost it would be good if you score how many times the negative thoughts are running through your head. And then set out in one therapy approach is called CBT, cognitive behavior theory. And that is the way you think impacts the way you feel, and how you feel impacts the way you behave. And so what you have to start doing is see the good. See the good in you. See the good around. It's not just about you. See the good around you and see the good in people as well. And when you begin to do that, it begins to change your entire atmosphere, your entire outlook and orientation of life.
And that has to do with being grateful, gratitude.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The story is quickly told about a woman who was going to divorce her husband, and the lawyer says, "Go and treat him like a king, and have lots and lots of fun, and come back in 2 months, and then let's do the divorce. Let's file the divorce." And 2 months passed, and she didn't return, and 4 months passed, and she didn't. And the lawyer called her up and said, "What happened? We're waiting for you to file this." She said, "What divorce? I love the man so much. The man is a king. He's the greatest ever." And that's because gratitude, focus on the good, celebrate life, the small moments, the big moments, the ordinary moments, the boring moments. Always give gratitude and enjoy life, because those are the things that matters in the end.
That is so true. Doc, thank you so much. Carrie Ann asked, what is the title of the book? It's Deconstructing Love, guys. Navigating Intimate Relationships with Your Eyes Wide Open, by our very special guest here, Dr. Ball. We're going to be wrapping up soon. So if you guys have any more questions, I'm going to give you a couple more minutes. Otherwise, Dr. Ball, thank you so much, sir. Like,
Thank
you know
you.
how much I love you.
And I love you back. I love you and Carrie. You guys are you guys are rock star in my book. Really, seriously, you guys are rock stars. So yeah.
Thank you. So Doc, what would be like your final wrap up that you might want to leave with folks out here today? And you guys are going to see him again. Mark my word.
Mark my word. So first of all, I do this because it's my life's work. And as a clinician, I work almost exclusively with couples at all stages in their relationship, because I am on a mission. I'm on a mission of teaching couples and families how to live their best lives. I'm on a mission of writing in such a way that it will change and transform people's lives, and teaching and preaching and doing all that I can do to contribute to really improving marriage and relationship. Because if marriage are healthy, our children are healthy. And if our children are healthy, then the next generation is healthy and the world is healthy. And so I wrote this book, Deconstructing Love, because I wanted, especially frankly, for some of our Christians, and I know some of them want to put me out of the church for what I wrote here, but I didn't care. That was a small price for me to pay. And so get the book, because it really unpacks the latest research and some things that churches and religious folks are not willing to talk about as well. And you could find the book on, you could get a signed copy on drrogerball.com, drrogerball.com, or you could get it on Amazon. And while you're at it, get the Ties That Bind and Bruise as well. It makes a good accompaniment to this one. So thank you, everyone, and take care of yourself. Love yourself no matter what, because you deserve to love and be loved in return.
So amazing.
Thank you.
Guys, you heard it first from Dr. Ball. This was one of his first book tours that he did. We are blessed on Jamaicans.com to have had you on, Dr. Ball. Yeah,
Thank
guys.
you.
Go get the two of the book them.
And if they go to my website, they'll get signed copies. So we'll sign it and drop it in the mail. But or you could just get it quickly on Amazon as well.
Yeah, guys. So go to his site, drrogerball.com, and also I'm going to put that in the chat when I'm done. And also go to Amazon and get Dr. Ball's book. He does a lot of other really great, amazing things. So I do want you guys to stay connected to him as well. He does have a Facebook page and an Instagram, Dr. Ball. Do you know what your social media handles are?
Now you're pushing me.
Okay.
Now you're pushing
You don't do your marketing, so all right.
No.
Guys, I'll share his stuff so you guys can follow him, so you can get more from Dr. Ball. And like I said before, this probably more than likely will not be the last time that you will see him out here. He's truly a blessing to me, and I know he blessed all of you guys. You guys have been saying it so much in the comments. I apologize for the echo. I've been seeing that in the chat. My apologies. But we're going to wrap here. It's about to be 6. Again, thank you, Dr. Ball.
And thank you so much, my friend. And much love to you. Much love to your family and to your listeners. You're doing an amazing job. Continue to do it. You are changing the world as well. God richly bless you.
Thank you, God. Love
Bye
you so
bye.
much.
Love you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, guys. So there you have it. What a wonderful show. I love that man. He's so amazing. Hey, Lady Seneca. That's his wife there. So yeah, guys, we're gonna share his information so you guys can continue to get more from him. Again, this more than likely will not be the last time you guys will see and hear of him. As you can see, wealth of knowledge, wealth of information. He's a clinician. He's studied, he's done the work, he has multiple degrees, and he really cares about people. And that's what I love about him. And he's also extremely very humble, which is really, really nice. And he's Jamaican. So please go support him. And I'm grateful for all of you guys. Love you all so very much. Love you all so very much. And I'll see you guys again. I'm going to be changing my schedule, guys, because I have a lot going on this summer. I have lots of workshops and things. So stay tuned. I'll be putting out a new schedule. I might be doing every other week. So I'm still working on exactly what that's going to be. All right. So you may or may not see me next week, but I'll let you guys know. All right. So until next time, guys, walk good, eat the veggies. And y'all know it's Meatless Monday. So make sure you guys are trying, if you didn't already cook, try to make something meatless. All right. Until next time, guys, I love all of you. Take care of yourselves. All right. Bye-bye.